Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the IBN Weekend Kickoff Show, NFL Weekend Kickoff Show. As always, I am joined by Corey Carlton, Alan Sandridge, Alan Sandidge, but it should be Sandridge. Might make a pop-up appearance. Sir, NFL show, but thoughts on yesterday and the fall of Prime.
You can't call it the fall, man. They won one game last year. They're playing with house money. ESPN overhype everything. Can't be mad at them. Is what it is. I mean, 6 points was a little alarming, but also we were sold the best two-way player since him would be on the field, and I didn't see that man present. So, best players injured, playing against an overmatched team on the road.
I
It
mean,
is what it
I'm
is.
not I'm not here for the excuses. I'm here for the bandwagon. But I think reality came down. But the reality of it all was they were hyped too much. This is what he's trying to bring the swagger to the program. They were hyped too much. They faced an elite team. Just like I said about Justin Fields or any team or any player, you can't go from bad to elite or bad to great. You can go from bad to good, but you can't jump in 1 year, especially in college football, when it's like all transfers. You can't you can't do that in a year.
I mean, he might could have, but I mean, the transfers aren't really elite. They just were like middling D1 level players, and that's the issue. It's like, yeah, he has two standout, maybe three standout blue chippers, but the rest are like 3 and 4 stars. They're not gonna.
And two of his
It's
sons,
not a
I guess,
super
have been
team that he had
shallow.
transfer.
One's his son. The other son is a good player, so that helps. And obviously one being the quarterback. But I was disappointed with I'm not gonna say they lack preparation because he's black, but it didn't look it
Nah,
didn't
I
look
don't think it's a lack of
schematically.
preparation. I just don't think that schematically they're that great. I think the three teams they've been winning one-on-one routes. People been wide open on crossing routes. They were able to protect. So like, I don't think they weren't not prepared. They seemed hype, like, but they just are overmanned in the trenches, and those receivers couldn't get any separation, and you can't block, and they can't run on anybody. So what are we even talking about at that point? If the receivers, who are the pride and joy, can't get separation because Oregon's corners are legit, then it's over before it starts.
Yeah, I did. I think we talked about it though. I was surprised, and you were surprised by the fact that they couldn't score. That was not the best
Yeah,
part.
I mean that's the surprising thing, right? Because it's the Pac-12. Like even Washington State or like even USC got 21 scored on them like yesterday. Like that, and that's the scheme part. It's like they weren't winning because of scheme. They were winning because people were beating people and making plays, and that's never going to be a
Yeah.
recipe for a winner, especially unless you have just so much more talent there, which they don't.
And the two, when you get a team, and not so much TCU, but Colorado State, and this game, they really you. I like what Dion does, but you really put a target on your back. And if you're Miami in the late 90s or whatever, that's fine. If you're who else is a swagger team? I don't know. If you're USC and you're acting like that, yeah, you've got the talent. But if you're like all out there like they are, people coming for you. And I think they
I mean,
got
but
some of that.
that's the only way to build a program, though, man. They ain't the bravado ain't for this year. The bravado is for the number one recruit in the nation who had no thoughts of coming there now taking a visit. Like that's what the bravado and hype is for. It ain't
I get
it
it.
ain't
I get
about
it.
this year. And there's something
But
about the
then,
team. Yeah, they're believing they're better, but you can't turn that on and off. It is what it is.
I mean, I think sometimes it's like next level, but I don't know. Or maybe the player shouldn't say it, just Deion should say. I don't know. But I'm happy. I mean, in reality, they take this thing, but they take this blow. But four losses is an amazing season. It's a coach of the year candidate if they get four losses. So, in the end, I don't want to act like some of these people and act like it's nothing because it was something. But four losses would be an amazing season for this team.
Making a bowl would be an amazing season. Like it's not
Yes, six would really
like
be.
anyone who had expectation of them to actually be able to compete with Oregon or USC. I just I question if you've watched college football before.
Yeah, next week's might be, well, I don't know if it can be uglier, but it's possible for it to be uglier. And
I mean, USC ain't gonna be as hype on defense as Oregon, so they'll
yeah, that
score.
part
But
they'll score.
he might. I
Yeah,
mean, if Caleb want to put 70 on him, he could easily.
yeah. So I knew these two games would be tough. I didn't think it'd be that bad, but hey, it is what it is. A little humbling, never hurt anybody. Let's get to the NFL. We got some interesting games this week. I don't think it's like the best slate of games I've ever seen in my life. Let's start out slow. We got the Colts
Whoa,
and the
whoa, whoa, whoa,
Ravens.
whoa, 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 whoa! Traditionally, we recap the Thursday game. We're not doing that this week.
I was just trying, it was just two of us. I didn't know, but if you really want to recap that game of mediocrity, you can. Go
Well, I
ahead.
mean, if you're talking about a slate and you don't mention the best team in football, it seems weird, but we can move on.
The best team in football.
Yeah, the
In the
49ers,
words
best team
of
in football.
Dupree, in the words of my boy Dupree Johnson, sorry, Dupree. Common opponents, baby. Y'all like the college. Common
Well,
opponents. What did the
well we're
Cowboys
gonna
do?
we,
What did the Niners
we,
do
we,
against the
we're gonna have
Giants?
one very common opponent in 2 weeks. Don't worry.
No, I mean a Thursday game, to be serious, it's not a representation of what your team is. So I'm not gonna hang any hats on a Thursday game either way. Y'all won. You did what you were supposed to do.
Not
You
a
beat
lot.
down a mediocre team. I mean, like you said, I actually believe that. You're trying to get out there with being hurt. You already had Ayuk hurt, so you were trying to get out there with being hurt. I'm not gonna lie to you, but I will say he wins games. But that wasn't like, and statistically it looks good. But you worried about Purdy at all?
Yeah, I mean, you can't have Jawan Jennings be your number two and expect like Roses. I mean, Ayuk's his favorite
Well,
receiver. Ayuk's the
come
only
on,
one that
man.
beats man
You got a
coverage.
tight end.
What?
You got a tight end. You got
I mean,
McCaffrey.
that don't run routes anymore. He's a blocker. He is. He's a glorified blocker, bro. He don't run routes. Like Ayuk's his most favorite target. He's the only one that beats man coverage. Debo excels in zone. So like, if you run press man, Ayuk's the only one that's gonna beat it. I'm not worried about Purdy, man. He don't need to be excellent. He just needs to be above average as long as everybody's healthy. I mean, you know, he schemes enough.
Alice said, "How you gonna be live on my shit and I'm not there?" Well, that's what happens with passwords, brother. Is it his name? I tried not to put in your name, Alan, but that's how the thing went. Let's see what this guy say. I don't know who this is. Some players just can't compete in the conference they go to, but then another conference and dominate. Who said that mess? Oh, that's Bradford. Sorry, Bradford. Love that you participate now. He said something about the Eagles. Let's get to these games because these comments ain't much. Let's go. As we were saying, 7.5 points favorites. Do you find Allen's been letting it go? But do you find it concerning that Richardson's played 2 games and been hurt 2 games? Is that weird?
Yeah, of course, but like you can't just run quarterbacks 15 times a game in the NFL and think there's going to be any sort of
That's
like,
true too.
and especially not physical runners. It's not like he's making people miss. These aren't
Scatting and
runners.
going out of bounds. Yeah.
Yeah, he don't make people miss. He's like a bigger like Josh Allen Cam style, and like those people didn't get hurt a lot, but he's not as big as them. He's like tall and athletic,
Yeah.
but
And he
like
lost
as
some weight.
far as actual stockiness, he's not as big as those guys. So yeah, of course it's concerning. That's a concern with any quarterback who's more run first and kind of trying to make plays up in the sand. So it's concerning. I think that I would say he's much better than I thought he was going to be through two
Yeah, a lot
games.
better.
So
A lot
I'd
better.
feel more encouraged than discouraged, but yeah, of course it's concerning.
And I also think, he lost 15 pounds, which I'm not sure why that would be because he needs that with the way he's running. But it also tells you how special Cam and Josh Allen are because, I mean, those dudes are huge and they take poundings and they generally stay healthy until the end of Cam's career. And Josh Allen's relatively healthy. Maybe it messes his brain up because he throws some bad picks. But, you got to kind of tip your hats to them.
Yeah,
Zay Flowers has been special. I still don't believe, especially with Lamar throwing the ball, but 13 catches and 140 yards in the first 2 games. The Ravens have had injuries already. They lost the running back. I can't think Dobbins. They have started 25 different players through 2 games. Is 7.5? How do you see it turning out? Might be breaking up a little bit.
Know that there's a huge drop off from Richardson to Minshew. So kind of whatever you like before, you like now. I don't like the Ravens to cover 7.5 at all. They're very beat up. I don't think the defense is good. I mean, the running game is whatever. I don't love Lamar passing, but so much. And I haven't seen him be electric, even though I do think he's been really solid and doing what he needs to do. So I like the Ravens to win, Colts to cover.
I think it's hard to say Ravens to win. Like at this point, I don't think there's a big difference between. I mean, it's hard to say Colts to win 7.5. I'm sure it's like some sort of trap because odds are you would imagine that the Ravens will win the game. So I'm going to take the Colts just off the principle of it that you can be. It's just too easy to pick the Ravens. I'm sure most of the money is on the Ravens. For the Atlantic, 92% of the staff of the Athletic picked Baltimore. So that kind of stuff, you kind of go against the public. We have the Denver Broncos at the Miami Dolphins. The Dolphins have looked great so far. Waddle is out. You think that affects them that much?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, if they're not tripling Tyreek Hill, then somebody's got to go. Probably Sean Payton. We need to talk about all these dudes that y'all praised in the mid 2000s who are just so far behind schematically, and I can't understand why people keep it up for money.
And you
For
think Sean
broken
Payton's one of those
offenses.
people?
Yes.
That's what you're doing.
Yeah.
You think Sean Payton's one of those people that's behind? You used to
Yes.
praise him too, by the way.
I used to think he was good, and I used to know who else was good.
Now?
Bill Walsh. You know what I wouldn't do? Dig him up and give him $100 million.
That's so disrespectful. You're a 49er fan, and I think he might be able to adjust. He's kind of an innovator.
Nah, man, leave them old dudes behind. There's a reason he won't coach him, and it won't because his team was so successful.
Y'all really on Chosen Robbie, the former Robbie Anderson that y'all picked up off the street? The Dolphins fans hollering about Chosen Robbie.
Oh no, Chosen's horrible. They're gonna. I'm pretty sure Rivercraft or whoever that other saltine is the one across from him. But with that being said, I do think it makes a difference. But guess what? It's still Russell Wilson at the helm, and all the chickens have come home to roost. Everything I've been telling y'all is true. Russell is beyond washed. He can never read defenses. Now everyone, if your coach got to yell at you about a wristband, like I can't take you to win.
Bro, listen,
I know people that rock
can't run anymore. He's
dude. There are high school quarterbacks right now that don't have to rock a wristband. This is very elementary stuff. He can't get the plays in. Everyone wanted to blame last year's coach, and he's still having the same issue.
Boy, I wonder what they did. Word to Jay Holler, what kind of flashcards they had in Seattle for this man. Because it does seem to be like a problem. Now, I swear I saw an article about the verbiage, making the verbiage shorter. What's happening? I don't understand how he just became a different quarterback, even without the running ability.
Was propped up. He had the Legion of Boom and Pete Carroll. You just see Geno having success in that system. Like, clearly it ain't him. Like, this ain't a Belichick and Brady situation. It's the opposite. Pete Carroll won. We saw who was propping who up.
Yeah, I hate to say it, but it is different because the Russell Wilson that we used to see was electric. He could run the one side of the field, throw to the other. He could throw from any angle, scrambling. So I don't want to totally just dismiss what he used to be, but this is ugly. Even though this year, 485 yards, 5 touchdowns, 1 interception. But if you watch the games, it's nowhere near that good. It is a 6-point spread. Do you think the Dolphins cover, brother?
No, I don't think the Dolphins cover. And a bunch of those came on a Hail Mary, so I'm not even giving him credit for that.
Yeah,
one of those TDs
definitely some
came off a lucky Hail Mary. So
and they almost won, and maybe they definitely was pass interference, but I wasn't impressed. I wasn't impressed.
Yeah, I mean, I'll take the Dolphins at home here. I'll take the Dolphins.
It's better. I would be shocked if the Dolphins didn't win and cover. So there's that. Patriots and the Jets. Now, what I was saying about this line, is it fishy? Because the Jets just 2.5 point dogs against. I know New England hasn't won, but they've been very competitive against good teams. 2.5 with a team with Zach Wilson starting, to me, seems a little fishy.
Well, it's just weird that we would go to the New England's have been competitive against good teams when the Jets actually beat a good team with Zach Wilson.
With Zach Wilson. Well, I guess it was the whole game, but
Yeah,
that was
the whole
somewhat of a
game.
miracle. That
So,
was somewhat
like,
of a
I mean,
miracle.
Zach Wilson isn't good, but neither is Mac Jones, and the Patriots can't run the ball. They can't stop the run. I mean,
That's a
I've been
different
saying
kind
it,
of
and
not
I'll keep
good.
saying it. Belichick keeps getting extra. I mean, the Jets should be favored in this game. So,
Really?
yeah, I think it's fishy because how are the Jets not favored? They're more talented, without question, and they have at least some sort of identity. They stop the run and they run the football. So, in a nasty, nasty game, I'm gonna go lean towards Jets here. The only issue, of course, is a rainy, nasty game. How much does Zach Wilson actually hurt you? Like, how much is he gonna let him throw? Um, so those are my biggest things. I mean, the Jets need to go get a veteran so they don't waste the whole season on that. But,
I
I
know
like
you
the
don't
Jets
like
here.
Belichick these days. However, you really taking Zach Wilson to win a game over a Bill Belichick defense?
Have you seen the defense?
Sorry, man. They played the Cowboys and they played the Eagles. Those are good offenses. I just don't see a Zach Wilson kind of guy going there. Or, he's at home and winning. Like, you can't dance around somebody that bad against a good team. Maybe Brees Hall will go off. I don't know. He had 3 carries last week, so I don't know what the hell was going on my son's fantasy team. He was crying about that. So I'm
Well, you
not sure
shouldn't be
what was going
starting
on with
Brees
that, but
Hall. That's bad. You got to do a better job as a parent on that.
so I definitely take the Patriots. Maybe it's a fool's errand on
Yeah,
the road, but
Jets money line. I like Jets money line.
oh wow, big time. All right, this is a game that's not something that would be high on many people's list, but I will ask you, what's going on with Sunshine, man? This is the Texans at the
There's the one
Jags.
big. If we want to talk about all my quote unquote guys who's been the biggest disappointment, it has been Sunshine this year. I expected an elite step forward. I expected people to start talking about him like they do Herbert, and that he just hasn't performed. He has the weapons. There's no excuse. Like Etienne, Ridley, Kirk, like Ingram, like there's everything set up for him to be really, really good, and he just has not been. To his defense, he has been a slow starter, whether that be college, whether that be the pros. I fully expect him to put it together. Maybe this is a get right game for him. But I've been disappointed with him. And can't blame Urban. I mean, they have a competent coach. They have weapons. I just been a little disappointed, especially last week. Like it was there. They were in the red zone, I think, 5 times. They just never scored. That game was there for the taking for them to make a statement, beat the Chiefs when Kelsey's limping, and they just didn't take it.
Yeah, Lawrence has averaged a league worst 2.7 yards per attempt on third down this season, and just 26.7 of those attempts have resulted in a first down. Now, I do think they can come out of this. They'll start playing teams in their division, but it's something about Jacksonville that's similar to the Chargers where they never put it all together. And that's starting to concern me as a guy who thought they win 11, maybe 12 games this year. Wasn't sure what they would do in the playoffs. But on the other end of this, do you believe? I don't remember what you said about CJ Stroud, but he's looked good. What do you believe in him?
I'm very anti CJ Stroud. I couldn't believe he got picked. I thought Bryce Young was the only choice. Very anti him. Um, yeah, I mean it's almost garbage time. He's looked fine though for a rookie. And I can't say anything negative about him.
Not a lot of weapons either.
I'm starting him in DFS today. I can't say anything negative about him. I mean, he has weapons in my opinion, but
Nico
that's another
Collins?
question.
Nico?
Yeah, Nico's good. Dell is nice. Like these, no one knows
Dell
them,
is
but
all
these
right.
are
Dell kind of nasty, but he's
yeah. I mean,
small.
these are dudes. Like if you just spread it out and just getting dink and dunk. I mean, he's getting a lot of possession throws. These are good
He's
people
throwing a
for it.
lot. He's throwing a lot of passes. Yeah, garbage time. I agree, Tony, but it's something to be said as an NFL quarterback just going out there doing the plays. I mean,
Yeah,
as a
yeah, it
rookie.
don't matter if it's garbage time or not. Like most of these rookies, we talking rookies the first 2 weeks, they can't process preseason, much less actual starters, no matter what's
Yeah.
happening.
What's wrong with the coaching staff, Allen? Everything you always blame the coaching staff, Allen, no matter what. I guess
What I would say is I think Pierce is an elite running back, and the fact they can't figure out how to run the ball is very concerning.
they were running the other guy. I can't even remember who the other guy is, but it was something's going on. I mean, but it's the Texans. There's a talent, dearth of talent on that team. So they're probably one of the worst rosters in the whole league. So I'm not putting a lot of stock in anybody playing that poorly. I mean, again, but I'm not even on Justin Fields yet. But you got to show something, no matter how bad your roster is. I'm just saying we're not there yet. But I'm saying you should show something of flashes that you can play, even if your team can't play. But we're not there yet. I know you. I hope you don't want to defend it. But anyway, Tennessee and the Browns 3.5-point spread in favor of Tennessee. How much do you think Nick Chubb's injury will affect things?
Huge. I mean, they're a run first football team. That's a huge loss. He's arguably the best running back in football. How could it not hurt things? How could it not affect things? Especially when it's very clear Deshaun Watson will not get back to the Deshaun Watson of old.
It's tough. What do you think happened?
A lot of things, man. One, he's a very much like a he's never been a like your traditional quarterback. Like he was making huge plays, shrugging people off him. A lot of drawing it up in the sand to guys like DeAndre Hopkins and
Yeah,
I forget who other else. Okay, Will Fuller, guys who aren't the greatest
Will
of route
Fuller,
runners
big deal.
themselves, who aren't the greatest of route runners themselves. So a lot of what they were doing was off script, and I mean, he looked like he could go toe to toe with Patty at times. So
Yeah,
um, I think you get them into a place that, traditionally we have not talked favorably about their scheme. And you have all that rust, and, like you can't take 2.5 years off and
yeah,
something
that's
that's
tough.
all feel. You're a feel guy and just expect to have the same feel. I still see the same level of elusiveness. I still see
Do
the
you?
same level of running ability. I still see the same poise when it comes to like third downs, all the intangible stuff. He just does not have good timing. He just is
I feel
not
like, yeah,
accurate
yeah, and
with the
that's what it is
ball.
too. Because I was gonna say his reactions, but the reactions are timing. So to me, the reactions are slow. So I'm seeing him as playing slow, and he might be, but he still might be is athletic. That was a good point of your part because I'm like, he just looks like he's playing slow, but that's mentally. That's not necessarily physically.
Yeah, I mean, he's still. If you watch, even when he gets sacked, the
So
first guy don't get him.
yeah, that's true. That is true. Uh, I would definitely take Tennessee. Eh, you don't. They're supposed to bring a Hunt back into the fold, but I would take Tennessee. The thing about Tennessee and Cleveland's defense is really good. The thing about
Yeah,
Tennessee, Tannehill played better, is you're not really going to blow them out, and they're going to come and give you a floor that is at the medium level, and probably not better, probably not worse, and it depends on you how many mistakes you make, whether you beat them or not.
I got a couple questions for you. How many points do you think Tennessee's going to score?
17. Well,
I'll
covering
take that.
too.
I'll take that under. Do you think Tennessee's defense is better than Cleveland's?
Oh, probably not, but almost
Do
even.
you think that Ryan Tannehill's timing and ability are currently better than
I
Deshaun
think he can play
Watson's?
better than Sean Watson. Yes,
Oh
I
no,
do
I'm gonna have to
believe that he
pass
plays
on
better
that.
than Sean
You
Watson,
didn't watch
and I
week
think he
one.
can run.
You said he played better. How could he play worse? They were about to go to Malik Willis.
Can now, my honest. I want you to be. I want to be honest here, and I'm not always on this train. It's time for me, Leak Willis, man. You got to see what's out there. Play defense, run the ball, let him run around, make a few plays, bro.
Now you
You got to
saw
let it
last
go.
year. You saw last year. I go to Levis before
He was good.
Willis, and I thought Levis was one of the worst picks ever. Levis is horrible.
Listen, you didn't see preseason. Willis was slanging that thing. You didn't watch.
He wasn't
He was
rookie.
slanging that thing. Now I don't want
He
to see the
wasn't
picks and
rookie.
whatnot, but he's explosive, man. You got to give him a shot. His coach
He
hated him,
wasn't
so
rookie.
there might be a problem. He
Yeah,
couldn't
but I
sling
got
that thing.
Cleveland here for sure.
So you got Cleveland with the spread and everything.
Money line spread, multiple scores.
Hey. again, I don't think it's the greatest week of all time, but I do. This is probably the game of the week. Falcons at the Lions -3. I'll ask you the question that Alan cries about. I hope you're still watching. Alan cries about every week. Do you think the way the Falcons play is maximizing their personnel? Because all things considered, especially that sorry quarterback.
Yeah, let me respond. Yes. Now we need to talk about why their personnel has Ritter as their quarterback voluntarily when they could have went and got Lamar Jackson and been a top 3 team in the whole NFL. We can
Will
talk
Smith
about
a
that.
champ?
But
No, man. Did he say Will Smith
yeah, I mean they looked better last week.
can't
They looked
run,
better
bro?
last week. They
Jesus.
definitely looked better last week. Um, Bijan is. I mean, I knew he was
Nasty.
good, but he's special.
Yeah, nasty.
You know. And there's a formula for running the football that much and getting big plays from London, who they got a big play from last week. Who I love, London, huge fan. The issue is picks, and like that's why you don't take tight ends that high. That was really stupid.
I think, yeah, that's part of it. But I think with those weapons, you could pass more. You could utilize play action. You could use more possession type things and some shot plays. Granted, your quarterback is not that great, but if I'm not in that locker room, I'm not watching those dudes practice. I'm not there looking at their knowledge of how to run routes and how to make adjustments. And I can see what the quarterback does on tape and on film and on live. So there's a reason why he's playing like this. This is not the way he really played in Tennessee. They were willing to throw the ball. Now it was still run based, but they weren't running this much. This is almost a high school offense, a college offense. So to me, and I've always believed in Arthur Smith as a play caller because I saw what he did in Tennessee with Tannehill. So I'm trusting the coach in this circumstance because if you spread it out and threw it all up and down the yard, I think there'd be turnovers and you probably lose.
Yeah, I mean they're winning. So what are we talking about?
I mean, it's
Like,
two
isn't
and
it
zero.
the object of the game is to win? And when they drafted Robinson, they told you everything you needed to know. They
What they
had a
wanted to
very
do. Yeah.
competent back, who they still give carries to. When they drafted him, that is literally everything you needed to know about what they thought about what they had at quarterback.
The funny thing is that Alger almost just gets. They gave him more last week, but the funny thing is Algie, Tyler was it Alger, whatever it is. He gets like 10, 15. They really
Yeah,
like
no,
to
but
run
that's
the
what I'm
ball.
saying. Like that's the whole job. They want him to still get the run because he's the physical one. They want to preserve their back, and he's still getting 6 touches a game off their passing game. Like,
So
I got no issues.
unfortunately, the meathead is 24-12 against the spread. Since he started coaching, so I guess that's good. I just want him to lose. I'm not gonna be a hater. I want him to lose. The defense isn't good, so Atlanta might be able to expose them, but I think Detroit is clearly better. They're at home. I think they'll cover. The meathead gets them all riled up, and they won last week. They lost last week, so I think they'll beat Atlanta. I do think Atlanta's good enough to win their division, but they may not be good enough to be 3-0 either.
Yeah, I think if it's whoever's at home wins this game, so I'll take Detroit.
Yeah, I do think home field advantage matters, and I don't want it to happen. I'll be rooting against them as hard as I do root for the Cowboys, but nah, I can't. I can't in good conscience say. And two, Detroit can put some points up. So if they get ahead, Atlanta's not coming back. So here's what it is. The Bills versus Commanders. The Bills are favored by 5.5. The Bills obviously responded from last week or the first week's very disappointing game. Do you think Washington is working with something? Eric Bieniemy? Maybe we got to jump on Eric Bieniemy and get off the prime train.
No, I mean I think you do got to give him a little props. They're
Yeah,
winning with their defense not playing very well. So
and
who
the
can we
scheme change
attribute that
is
to? I
very correct.
certainly wouldn't attribute to Sam Howell.
Well, some people think he's playing all right, man.
He's
I
playing
mean,
all
he's all
right.
right. He just
I
makes a
can't.
lot of stats.
He's playing all right, but you can't attribute Their offense, like, I mean, it looks as though they found some running game. I thought Robinson looked really bad last year, but he was coming off getting shot, so a little grace there. And it
He
looks like he's
was.
having a little bit better games now. So I like Washington to cover here. And I would not put the Bills in any money line parlays.
Or you have to be really careful if you were going to do Survivor with the Bills. I got a bad feeling about this. Not that Washington has any home field advantage, but definitely the line for the Commanders and the defense has woken up. And Chase Young looked alive last week. And if that defensive line dominates, turnover man will give you the ball. So I think the Bills should win. However, these things don't always go as they are playing. So I think we both on Washington here. Let's go on, which is amazing that we both would even pick the Bills. Chargers and the Vikings. The Chargers are only favored by 1 point as of now. My question to you is, why can't the Chargers ever put it all together?
They have horrible coaching. Like, they still
We
run
got
this crap funnel where they just give up the run and short passes to everyone, and it's never worked ever,
free Anthony
despite all
Lynn.
the talent on defense.
Did the
And
same thing.
Herbert just isn't that guy. So that's your two things. He can get you in a bunch of shootouts, but he's rarely going to bring the shootout home. He's always going to make the one mistake that you have to be perfect to win games the way that they play them on a consistent basis against anybody that's kind of good. Now, can he outdo a Kirk Cousins? Of course he can. I'm not saying they're going to lose today. I really don't know. I would never touch this game. And both of them are very similar. They're both capable of putting up big numbers, rarely going to make the clutch drives, but they're capable of winning 9, 10 games. They're very, very similar to each other. So I'm really not sure why they get talked about in such different lights, honestly. You put them side by side and take off the jerseys and only put the numbers without the rushing stats. I bet they look very similar.
Yeah, I agree with that. You can't predict what the Vikings are going to be these days. Because last year, of course, they won all those close games. So far this year, they aren't winning the close games. So I don't know what you do with the Vikings. I think I would, and the Chargers blow close games too. If I had to pick, I would pick the Chargers, I guess, because I really don't think the Vikings are that good this year at all. So I would pick the Chargers, but yuck, I don't feel good about it. Uh, Panthers, and Seahawks, 4.5 for Seattle. Bryce Young is out, which doesn't spell well for his slenderness and his smallness, but I got faith in him. I think he's been all right. But 4.5, which Seattle team is the real Seattle team? The one we saw week 1 or the one we saw week 2?
Well, I mean, I think the Rams are a lot better than people wanted to give them credit
Yeah,
for. I mean,
that's true.
you got a Hall of Fame quarterback. I mean, you just
Oh,
got to give them some credit. You
trying to
do.
trigger me.
You got to, bro. You can't just dismiss a Hall of Fame quarterback back there just because they don't have some propped up dude that's in McVay's system that's clearly replaceable. We got to talk about Cooper Cup being replaced by a fifth rounder with no drop off.
Here you go. Bro, it's 2 weeks. Stop. Stop. What are you doing? 2 weeks.
Cooper Cup been good.
Stop.
13.
Stop it. 2 weeks? You trying to make a conclusion. Why you hate that man? Do you even know what color the new
Back to the
Do
game.
you know what
I don't
color the
trust
new guy
Geno
is?
Smith. The Red Rockets not that big a drop off from Bryce Young. He might be an upgrade. Give me Carolina 4.5.
What you really sleeping on is Tutu Atwell. He been balling too. But what's the dude's name? I don't even remember the dude's name, and I don't know if he's black or white or
Pikachu.
what he is. Huh?
Pikachu.
4.5 in Seattle seems safe. What do you think?
No, I'm gonna give me Carolina 4.5. This is a typical trap game. I could see Seattle coming from behind and winning. I think the line should have went down with Dalton, but so give me Carolina 4.5.
I I think I would take the trap here. There's a long ways to go with Andy Dalton. I think Andy Dalton done, and I've been a halfway fan. At least I knew he was better than James. Let's just say that. Oh, we got the Bears and the Chiefs, 12.5. The Chiefs not really look good. The offense not really look good. So you would think they would win this, and God knows the chaos with the Bears. I think everyone knows my feelings about Justin Fields, so I don't really have to say it. I might still if you go crazy, but what do you think of Justin Fields these 2 weeks and what he said during the week?
Yeah, I mean, I think that there's always been a little bit there with Fields' lack of leadership. Like he was almost perfect at Ohio State, but just like how he handled the Georgia stuff, just in general, I think even in high school, you watched his little documentary thing or whatever it's called, QB1. He just never. He always looked like a creative player. His heart wasn't in it type deal. He's never inspired me leadership wise, and those comments were really disappointing. And then to be like,
That's really
"Oh, they
bad.
twisted my words." No, you said what you said, bro.
That's what you
And I
said.
don't think he's
Yeah.
wrong, right? I think that there's always an issue when you try to. Basically, they told him to stop running.
But you
So it's
stop.
like, how do you work to a scheme to maximize his throwing ability while not creating him his best thing, which is his running ability? And I think they tried to do a 180, and then once he understands how to play from the pocket perfectly, then put the running game back in it. And it's just like he's not going to be starting long enough for that if you go that route.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
um, people are open though, but I do think there's something to him
Very
saying
open.
he's playing robotic because that's what it looks like. It looks like he's overthinking every single thing. And
That's an insult to robots. Robots are much more efficient. But I know what you I
but
know what
robot, but
you mean.
you
If I'm gonna
wouldn't
be
want.
honest about if I'm gonna be
Yeah,
honest about him, they're not doing him any favors, but he also has been really bad, and he cannot. The game is too fast for him. Ironically, he's the one that said the game was slow, but the game is too fast for him from the passing standpoint. So you got to give these kids training wheels if they're running quarterback, and let the running game, the numbers game, make the passing game easy. That's what they've done with Hurts. That's what they've with Richardson. There's somebody else I'm not thinking of that progressed. I can't remember who it is. But you start with the running game. You start with running the read options, so quarterback reads. You got the numbers game. You're holding the defense on the play action and the ability of the quarterback to run. You bring in cover one or single high safety reads because the guy might run. You have to do that for a running quarterback that's not a super developed passer. The thing that
and you have to
surprised
establish the running game and not letting your star running back go to another team
that would help
to
as
start a
well.
scat back.
So so it's I mean, it's definitely on the Bears, but again, too, like what could you call for him? You're not gonna win if he runs around. We saw once he started running around. What plays could you call passing wise that would make him successful?
Yeah, no, I mean
It's
they're
a tough
not doing
spot.
it. No, it's true.
It's a very tough spot. But
It
so
is
how do
tough.
you think it's going?
I mean, the Chiefs' defense has actually looked pretty good, so I think that speaks some good things for them. Once Kelsey's back healthy, I think they'll be fine. But overall, I think that the Bears stay in it for a little while, and then the Chiefs run away with it, like a 24-13, 31-17 type deal.
And yeah, I need the Chiefs offense to get going. I need to see the explosion that we're used to seeing. I see a lot of Travis Kelsey talking about, I don't know, maybe he's got the disease of me going on. I see a lot of talk about Taylor Swift, not a lot of talk about rehab Travis. So I don't
Nah,
know.
I mean,
I don't
Travis
know.
has always been like that though. Like
He's gonna show up. What?
he was on a dating reality show. This isn't
That's true.
different.
But this is another level of attention. Nobody watched that shit.
It don't matter though. It's always been him. It's not like he's changed
It's
just
true.
because the
It is him.
person he's attached to changed. That's not a different person. He's not
Hey,
doing
didn't work
something out of
well for
character.
Romo. Steelers and the Raiders, we got a 3-point spread, which I'm sort of surprised because the Raiders are favored by 3. I'm not gonna do anything to Mike Tomlin. Not gonna do it. I'm gonna be fair. I'm not sure. This is a weird game. I can't pick Raiders games. You don't know which Raider team's gonna show up. You don't know if Jimmy G's gonna get hurt. Kenny Pickett's not good on the other side. So it's really hard. All I know is TJ Watt is going to show up and he's probably going to dominate.
Yeah, I mean, this is a typical game Tomlin just wins from better coaching. If you want to be honest.
Probably. Probably. Do you
They'll be more
think
prepared. They'll coach better. I got them to win this game, and they're not
who do you
very
think
good.
is better? Who do you think is better? Because I honestly don't know. I know Cowboy fans won't want to hear this. Like I have a hard time deciding between Garrett, TJ Watt, Bosa, and Parsons. I have a hard time with that.
Yeah,
Um,
I think they do very, very different
but
things.
just Bosa, let's just do Bosa versus Parsons.
I think Parsons is a more impactful player. I'd rather have Bosa in a
Explosive.
playoff game.
Yeah, I feel like Parsons can wreck a game in a way that devastates a defense, and you have to prepare for it in a way
You,
that
you know who
I
I
mean,
would compare it to?
prepare for in a way you have to do a lot to account for him. But at the same time, what TJ Watt does
I would.
is more effective,
I,
maybe.
it would be my same answer to if you asked me who would I rather have, Tyreek Hill or Justin Jefferson.
Yeah, similar. You get the
Like
explosion
Hill does
versus
things
the
you can't imagine, but I mean the consistency of Jefferson, and you know, I'd rather have Watt or Bosa if we're being honest. But this person deserves the defensive player of the year, front runner, and all that he's getting.
So I guess I would take Pittsburgh just because it's Pittsburgh, and I don't. How could you believe in the Raiders? I don't. I won't. I've always thought Josh McDaniels was a good coach, but that's because he went 4-0 that one year, and I was impressed. They floundered, but I really like that start. I can never forget that start in Denver, and they beat the Patriots. And I don't know, man. I can't. Something about me always said, and what he did with Brady, but it's not working out because he thinks he's Belichick. Last game of the week, Philly versus Tampa Bay. 4.5 point spread. Philly is favored. Do you think the rumors of the demise of the Eagles and the style points everybody's talking about, do you think that matters, or do you think they actually have slipped?
I mean, I think it's natural for them to slip. With people expecting them to blow everyone out like last year, I think that's egregious, an egregious expectation. They're just coming off a Super Bowl. Historically, teams coming off a Super Bowl don't even make the playoffs. They're still gritting it out and grinding it. You can't expect teams that just made the Super Bowl to come out and kill everyone from a motivational standpoint. It makes no sense. So no, I think it's bogus, and I think that their talent alone gets them certain places, and we'll see about execution when the time comes. Their defensive line is better, offensive line looks slightly worse. I mean, they're doing what they have to do to win. It's the NFL, and they're not playing scrub teams.
Yeah, that's also true. I'm really confused. Why are there two Monday night games again? I feel like I'm misreading that, but
No, they do. They always do that to start the season.
I thought they did. I didn't think they did it this deep, but they didn't do it week one, and they did it week two. I think is the problem. They did it 2 and 3. So I mean, and Tampa's been a cute story, but and Baker does this from time to time. He'll look good, but he reverts. I mean, these are the best receivers he's ever had. Jokes aside, so if you can't throw to Mike Evans, something wrong.
I know
But
somebody that couldn't throw to Mike Evans.
don't do that. Don't. I'll hang up. Don't do that. You better be talking about Jameis Winston. You're not talking about Tom
James,
Brady. Are you trying to be funny?
he got busy with Jameis.
Are you trying to be funny? He still
You
had
know
really
Tom.
just
You
catch
know
Tom
Tom
Brady.
couldn't get Mike his. You know they had to do. They had to literally do the smoke screens at the 1 yard line just to get Mike his touchdowns because Brady couldn't throw it up to him. You know
The
that.
connection was not a great connection, but it still worked. It was effective, but it was not a natural connection. That's all
It
I'll
worked
say.
enough for him to get his streak continued. That's about it.
And he got his stats. Brady made sure the man got his stats, but when the game was online, he wasn't looking for him, and he really just threw it to him in the red zone to make him happy. But yeah, it wasn't the best thing I've ever seen. But I'm not gonna slam the goat. Another Monday night game. The
Oh no, and
Rams.
sneaky. I like the Bucks to cover here, maybe to
Oh, you
win.
do. You do. All
Sneaky,
right. I
sneaky.
think it's possible, but I don't. I don't know. What else would you call Bradford said that. What else would you call Baker Mayfield? You really think Baker Mayfield is going to continue starting and be good all season? Cute story is the fine. Cute story is the best thing you can say about Baker.
Yeah, that's a nice way to put it.
I'm being real kind. I'm not a Baker hater. I'm being very kind. Last game on the schedule. Oh, get out of here, Corey. I mean, your light skinned brother said This is Richie. He said, Jesus Christ, finally somebody making sense. Thank you, Corey. All these old goofballs here. I've said the same thing about the Eagles, man. I'm not out here trying to hate on the Eagles. Nobody hating on that, man, at all.
Y'all hating a little bit
on that team. They lost 2 coordinators, so maybe there's a slip up, but I think they'll be fine. I mean, it's possible the Cowboys might win the division, but nobody hate. I mean, nobody hating.
The Eagles don't care about that
hating.
division.
Huh?
Eagles don't even care about winning that division. I know that.
Yeah,
I know
yeah,
who.
and
I
two,
know
but
Dallas
people
don't want to play
man.
at least 3 teams in the NFC in the playoffs.
You're a play away from winning the Super Bowl, and you're supposed to get hyped for Week 1 against who? The Patriots. You're supposed to get hyped for Week 2. Who did they play Week 2? You're supposed to get hyped for that, and you were at the apex. No, man, get out of here. No, that's just not realistic. You just got to get to that. Well, if you don't have home field advantage, you're gonna have a hard time willing Mr. Richard Washington. But anyway, the greatest quarterback of all time, Matthew Stafford, is a 2-point. Why is it saying that? That's weird. Is a 2-point underdog to the Cincinnati Bengals. We still don't know if Joe Burrow would be in or not. Last time I saw, it said that, an internal report said he was probably not going to play. Well, if he can play, he will. But without knowing let's assume Burrow is going to play. Don't you think this would be a good right time for the Bengals, considering what they've done in the past?
What have they done in the past?
They started 0-2 2 years in a row and come out and made playoffs, championship game, Super Bowl.
Well, maybe, but I saw the last time I saw these 2 teams play. I know I saw Matt Stafford outplayed Joe Burrow and get the win.
Oh man,
no,
I saw them.
How can you defend Joe Burrow and criticize Matt Stafford? I really want to know.
I mean, one has been very more successful early on. One took a franchise and turned it around. The other guy had to get traded to a dream team. That's how I can do it. You put Joe Burrow on the
turned around. He ain't win no ships.
Would they have won the Super Bowl?
What?
If Joe Burrow was on the Rams?
No, not that year. He was horrible. Stafford made key throws. You're acting like Stafford did nothing. He made the throws to win. What's the difference? Why wouldn't they win? Why didn't they beat the Rams?
He also, because they were a better team. He led the league in interceptions, man. Come on.
But not in the playoffs when it mattered. He was amazing. He led the Giants to win.
Yeah, he was a drop.
Burrow is not good in the playoffs. That matters. You're telling me a quarterback's not good in the playoffs going to win the Super Bowl?
He was a drop interception away from going home, and y'all going to the Super Bowl again.
Yeah, and we would have won. You asked me if Burrow would have done it. No, he was not good in the playoffs. Stafford was.
I got to look at the game against Kansas City. I know he wasn't good against the Titans, but I have to go back and look at the game against Kansas City.
He wasn't good against the
Rams. Oh man, so I guess I would go with Cincinnati. Even if Burrow's not there, Cincinnati's got their back against the wall. I would take Cincinnati no matter what.
Man, y'all be going by names on papers, not who are actual players. You know, every year teams do different things in the NFL, right? It take y'all to week 6 to admit the team's not good when they're not good. This team is not good.
I'm a believer in Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow and what Cincinnati's done. I don't think they just fall off a cliff magically.
Every year teams fall off a cliff with good players.
This is true. But it's pretty quick. This will be not if you've been to the championship game.
This is not pretty quick, my guy. This will be after a 2-year window. That's about the average in the NFL.
I would say when you a Super Bowl type team, 3-4 year window. I would say usually.
I mean, if you think Burrow's the top 3 quarterback everyone else does, then yeah, that gives you. You just keep going if you're Aaron Rodgers, but I don't think Joe Burrow's that.
Keep going where? Losing?
No, you just keep winning. You win 11 to 13 games every. You act like Joe Burrow won the Super Bowl or something.
Well, I don't think
you call Aaron Rodgers a loser, but didn't say Joe Burrow's a winner.
Well, we got to see more time. You know, over there. This is early. I can't decide Burrow. I don't think.
But that's all I'm saying. If Burrow's at the level of an Aaron Rodgers, then yeah, they'll go to playoffs every year. But I don't think he's that.
10 quarterback all time for all my hate. I mean, I'm not gonna dog the man while he down right now. You know, I'll send him some.
I don't think Burrow's pencil you in for the playoffs every year type of quarterback.
But I guess
that's all I'm saying.
But if he does keep doing that, you're gonna stop hating.
Yeah. tell the truth about the man. I told the truth last year.
All
Burrow is
right.
way overhyped. That's the
Who you
truth.
got any daily fantasy picks?
Yeah, I love CJ Stroud today, man. I love Stroud and all those, and just mix and match his receivers. Love him a lot. I'm on Robinson for Atlanta. I'm also on Pollard. I mean, too big of favorites. He hasn't had a huge day yet. He will have one eventually. I think that comes today. Um, and then it's real hard to get off of those Vikings receivers today. So if you want to be different, fade Jefferson at your own risk, but you can throw in Addison in there. But those are the majority of my stacks today. Stay away from Ford for Cleveland, bro. Titans have the best run defense there is. I don't think he catches enough balls. If you want to play Deshaun, go ahead. But don't fall for that cheap running back for Cleveland.
The only guy I want to free is Malik Willis. Let my boy spin. Let the boy spin. Let the boy see what he can do. You're not going anywhere with Tannehill. You might win 9 games and show something, but you got to go boom or bust. One season, maybe he gets hot. Maybe he can get something done. Maybe y'all can go somewhere. But no, free Malik Willis.
Free Tyler Lockett. Free. This is the first free that we had. Free Mike Tomlin for having to be attached to Kenny Pickett as his quarterback.
It's almost 1:00. You trying to argue, bro? What's going on? That's ridiculous. But he was attached to, you slandered the Hall of Fame quarterback he was attached to. So I guess this should be all right. Huh? Let's see if you can coach it up. All right, folks. Enjoy the week. Enjoy football.